Welcome to the Historic Preservation Board meeting for Thursday, April 7th, and we're calling to order. The first bit of business is approval of the minutes from March 3rd, 2022. Hopefully everybody's gotten a chance to see it. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second, I wasn't.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next thing, I'd like to introduce our newest member, Chuck Fox. Chuck comes to us from the city of Rochester, although he's a lifelong resident of Penfield.
Yes.
And he's been told he's not to tell any stories about working with Steve and I in the past, because we both worked with Chuck for years, decades.
That might be tough.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, public participation, no one has showed up today. No one's on the meeting. So we'll start off with our first thing, which is a certificate of appropriateness. And I don't see anybody here. Were they planning on showing, Shannon?
No, no one got back to me about coming, so I think we're all set to go without them.
Okay, all right. So the first application is for 2,137 5 Mile Line, Penfield, New York. It's for a sign. And hopefully everybody, well, probably most of you are already familiar with the property. And they're going to be remodeling the former store, updating the flooring, adding counter space and shelving, and lighting to fit their retail needs. That isn't coming before us. All that's coming to us is they want to create a new sign to replace the current one in place. They sent in a picture of it, and I'm sure we can get that for the record. Did anybody have any comments on the sign? Yes, Linda.
I'd just like to say that we haven't had the public hearing yet for this on the town board level. We have to
Okay.
have a public hearing because they're moving from one location to the other across the street, and it's in a plaza with a certain amount of parking and everything, so we really felt necessary to do a public hearing. So that
Okay.
won't be until May.
So
So I'm not sure. I mean,
so our approval would be contingent upon your
Yes.
approving
just
it.
to be clear.
Okay, just for the record. Shannon, if you just note that for us, I'm sure you already
Yeah.
did.
Yep, thank you, Linda.
Okay. Have you all seen the sign? And what did you have any questions about it? Personally, I thought it was kind of a nice sign. Looked kind of classy and different, and, you know, it wasn't ostentatious at all or anything like that, so. Anybody want to move to approve the sign?
I move to approve.
Can I have a second?
I'll second. You said
Okay, well, we'll take them both. We have a second and a third. Okay, all in favor of the sign as presented?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay. I'm sure they'll be pleased. The second application is also for 5 Mile Line, but it's 2094 5 Mile Line. And she would like to add 2 signs to the building, or he, I'm not sure who it is. Oh, it's a she. Would like to add 2 signs to the building where they have their business. They'd like one on the front of the building, so it's viewable from the road, and also one on the back of the building next to her main entrance. These signs are necessary so that customers can find her business with more convenience. And again, the signs were presented, and there is one that was preferred over the others, and one on your sheet that you got was crossed out. These are the,
Is it, Sean, can you pull it up on the screen?
when you're done, I'll pass it to Chuck. I don't know if you got the whole pack.
Yeah, I see it.
You saw it, okay.
It's cute.
Again, I like the simplicity of it. Both signs tonight have been very simple, to the point, and
Is there any lighting with them? Or-
I didn't
see
see
it,
I don't,
so-
there is lighting on the building.
No, it's double-sided aluminum sign.
Yeah, but on the one where it says Fine Fashions with the existing
That's
sign,
the Arcadia one.
there's overhead lights, right? But there's no lighting on the sign itself.
You got the wrong,
This is the,
you have the wrong one there.
Oh, I
We
do?
have the signs flipped between the two properties, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think those were the ones that I didn't see what you guys had first. I think the ones with the options are for the 2137
Okay,
5
yeah,
mile.
which we already approved. I'm sorry, I held up the wrong one.
That's okay.
So, but is there a light on that building? But whatever it is, it's not on the sign.
No.
The sign itself is not lit.
It might be illuminated from the front. There might be
A
lights
gooseneck?
that kind of that illuminate it from the front, but I don't think the sign itself is
Yeah,
illuminated.
right. Okay. Yes, sir.
Where's she gonna hang the sign? Where on the front?
Um,
Over the window?
It's next to the window, I believe.
no, it will be perpendicular to the building, so.
Yeah, it
will
sticks
be
out from the building.
Probably over here.
In there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's. And then they're gonna put back there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You might want to hold it until you get the person to give
where
you
it
clear
is on the
information.
building.
There is a drawing.
It doesn't say where it's going to be, I just assume, the sign is end mounted. So,
It's not next to the window?
well, there is something yellow there, so I kind of assumed that's it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Shannon, do you know, did they mention it to you?
I think in the front, I think like Mira was talking about, it would be perpendicular to the building, right next to the window that she has circled, if I remember. Unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me. On the back, I'm not sure if she specifically said where she wants the sign, though.
Okay.
I don't think it's critical.
I'm just looking if I could see a better drawing on my
Here, she's gotta
phone.
put it there. Or, is it a separate business?
Yeah,
would think
I don't know, it has to be mounted strategically so that it's seen from the road. And so maybe, because these
I mean, we can do a
windows
couple
stick
of
out.
things.
Yeah, I would think the window would.
Yeah, we could approve with conditions based on what you guys want to see, or
I
we
mean-
can hold it until we get more
Yeah,
information.
we can always hold, but that's always our choice.
Yeah, we want to see exact location where they propose to install the sign.
Okay.
If it is where the yellow part is, are you,
Well, it may be, but there is no
No.
note pointing to that.
but what I'm saying is if it was there,
Oh, if
would
it
we
was
find that acceptable?
Well, you're talking the yellow, isn't
No,
it?
not this, I think this leaf, I think
Oh, right
this.
there?
Yeah, I know, it's kind of awkward.
Is
isn't
she
it?
how long is this gonna be to go past the window?
Well, it has to be on the window because the window protrudes out about
Yeah,
18 inches.
it's like a bowed window, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point.
so, yeah, I guess it would be acceptable to me, but I don't know.
What do the
everyone
rest of you
else.
feel? Do you want to do it contingent, or would you rather hold?
It's acceptable to me, just where she's gonna mount it.
Steve, Chuck, what do you
I
feel?
thought it looked, I drove by, I thought it looked like a good idea. There's one that's going down by the road, or no, there's two on the building, right?
Right.
One on the front and one on the side?
Is it already installed?
There is a sign there, I believe.
Oh,
I'm not sure, but it's not this one.
Okay.
Is that correct, Shannon? I think there's
I
one.
think so. I want to say that this, I'd have to check with Carrie Ivers, but I want to say that this already went through and it was missed that the Historic Preservation Board was supposed to look at it.
Yeah.
So I think that the signs may already be installed.
There is a sign there.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be why she I don't know why she circled the window though. That is kind of confusing.
I mean, is it in our jurisdiction to approve location or just the sign itself?
I think we can approve location as well,
Well,
because if it would,
We can or we,
We can, because even though we're approving the sign, where it goes would make a difference.
Right.
So for historic preservation purposes, it makes a difference.
You could table it till you get some clarification on
Right,
it.
so that's what I've offered, the two choices. Okay, so can I have a motion to table?
Move to table until
Okay,
position of the sign is clarified.
okay.
It's clear.
You'll second it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Unfortunately, I wish they had shown today.
That's something that doesn't necessarily have to wait till the next meeting either. You could email us or do it in a text message or a picture. She doesn't have to, we don't have to wait till the next meeting, do we?
We,
We
You
do?
have to vote.
yeah, we have to vote. So again, we could do it as conditional,
That's fine.
but,
Whatever the proper way to do it.
yeah. It's too bad they didn't come in today. Sorry for confusing you guys with giving you the wrong sign. Okay. We're moving along. Informational items, the bicentennial participation. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
Well, where we left it, at that last conversation we had, was to see, where we could go with it. What Kathy had put together that last time around seemed to be what people wanted. But then we started talking about maybe doing something else extra, and I think that's the question. We can probably get the other thing together based on our notes from the last time, do it in the fall, and use this room like we did, and it would be, in my mind, okay, the county wants every town to do something to showcase themselves, right? We're one of the few towns that has a historic preservation board, which is pretty neat, right? Because we have an actual district. Not all towns have little districts that have that kind of oversight.
Right.
So if that could be part of touting it to Visit Rochester, that, the Historic Preservation Board, the town of Penfield would like to look at the properties that we have in our districts, invite the owners, have somebody come to speak about what needs to be done, within the confines of being an owner of a historic building, like we did before. Maybe some extras we could probably talk about. But that, and I talked to Marie about it, our town supervisor too, and she's fine with, working on that for us to pursue going to Visit Rochester or something. And one thing, so that I think is sort of easy to get going, and that everybody seemed to be behind that one. The other one, like Shannon was mentioning, maybe a scavenger hunt kind of thing with the kids and stuff. I will tell you, I was getting an email, Rhonda Rossman, who's our library director, they're celebrating 80 years this year. So they're trying to do something kind of in September, October for themselves over at the public library and I suggested that going to Visit Rochester as a bicentennial event. They talked about, it's about doing something similar, only everything going back to 1942 because that's 80 years. We have so much more that we could do prior to that. If you wanted to get a committee to do something, that could be a fun thing as a scavenger hunt or something for younger people. We could do it online. We wouldn't have to have something like combined with another event or something like, we could do something like a Taste of Penfield or the chili cook-off or something like that, but maybe it'd be easier just to do something online if we could get a committee together to do that. I know Shannon was interested, maybe if a couple more people on this committee. Those are my suggestions. I thought that was a great one. And if we did what Kathy already did, which is just updating and, refreshing, know, you got it, and that could be.
Okay.
Because we can put in any time. They just want it to go to Visit Rochester, and so they can always cue it into their calendar of each town and what they're doing that's historical.
Okay.
Bicentennial-ish.
I wrote a note to Tom about a forum where maybe send letters to people who own historic preservation, historic buildings, and they would come and speak and say what they went through or what is necessary and why they did it.
Okay.
Maybe a forum here, just in the auditorium or something like that. If people, and if you have borderline people who are interested in, if their house is in the district and they want to pursue something like that.
It's a good idea.
it would be,
Yeah.
maybe get somebody, just give their experiences.
That would be interesting.
Could that be, are you thinking that could be part of this open house or another night?
I'm
Another
not
night?
familiar what you're talking about. I just
You
wrote
were
the.
around back then, Mike. We had this big thing in the back, and they had all the different houses. There was a big poster boards.
Speakers,
You were there.
It was.
It was a number of years ago. How many years ago was it?
I don't remember.
I can't remember last week.
I think I was liaison to this board, so I haven't been liaison in a long time.
But I thought like a forum where,
Yeah.
if you send a letter to
I
the.
like it, yeah.
Send a letter to the people who are registered as historic properties and ask them if they'd like to participate and just present to the public a brief synopsis of why they did it, what was necessary and things like that. Benefits from it and the pros and cons.
That'd be interesting.
You could tie it into your,
Tie it in, yeah.
your,
Different time of the day, just later
what
on.
did you say, your scavenger hunt or something like that, or just have a forum here, and then if you did the scavenger hunt on a computer, which I have no idea how to do, you could tie it to right through here or something like that.
Could you include a mailing to the owners that are in the districts that would maybe be on the fence about wanting to try to get their house designated?
That would be.
I think that's
that
what
would
the
be-
forum-
That would be a good group to
It would be
get a hold
interesting
of.
for them to come and see something, someone that's went through it, you know,
Yeah.
the good things and the bad things. And
Yeah,
I think when we did the program, however many years ago it was, letters were sent out to not only the landmark homeowners, but also the ones that lived in districts too, because we had
Were they?
quite a big turnout, so it was more than just the landmarks.
Could you have the district way out in East Penfield too?
I think those are all good ideas. I think we can incorporate pretty much most of everything, just depending on what scale. So I think that between now and the next meeting, I know Tom already started to compile a list of all of our ideas.
okay.
So maybe when I get back in the office, I can email everybody that list. And everyone just make sure that we read through it. And then the next meeting, I think we can go over the details and what is plausible and what things we can fit in without doing too much, I think would be
Okay.
great.
That would be. Thank you, everybody. I'm not very creative, so I don't know exactly what my role will be, but it will not be coming up with a great idea. So, but Tom will be back at the helm.
You could incorporate, if you had a forum, you could incorporate tables of pictures of before and after.
Right.
Or, I have a book at home of Penfield way back when, and I still remember when I was a kid some of this stuff, so you can incorporate pictures of how it was back then, how it is now. Penfield Road, how it was a dirt road at the four corners and stuff. So you might be able to tie that into a forum where I was going to say patients, where the people would sit here and talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Okay, so Shannon, you're at the helm on this one for the time
Yep,
being?
yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
all right. Okay, we had no held items, no other business, and now we have old business. And can someone give us an update on Verizon Telecommunications Tower at 1838 Penfield Road, which is the fire station? They want to put a rather
Yeah, so
large,
last thing I knew, they still haven't come back before the planning board. I assume that's because the planning board asked for quite a bit of information from them. But I'm keeping track, making sure that we don't miss anything. And then they will also be going in front of the zoning board, but that has not happened yet either. So really no updates, just letting you guys know that I'm keeping on top of it and making sure that I'll keep you guys in the loop as they do go to these next few meetings and where things stand. I do know that for the zoning board meeting, they are most likely to get approval. There are different zoning laws for cell towers that will most likely allow them to go into that area. So really, it's going to mostly be up to the planning board, not to deny or approve necessarily, but more so to I think just come up with conditions on how it can look best in that location.
okay. All right. There's no business, no executive session. Our next meeting is May 5th. Good, Doctor. I think it's time for you.
Move to adjourn.
May I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good meeting.
It was a little anticlimactic for your first meeting.
You know, you could
Thank you, everybody.